Welcome to the Bourbon Friday Show. I'm your host, Nick Niehaus. We're talking business and bourbon. And today I've got an exciting couple guests actually doing something a little bit different. So I'm talking to Dan and Bobby, and we were talking about the In Motion Filmmaking Conference. So it's definitely right up my alley. So guys, thanks so much for joining me today.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Yeah, of course. Well, so let's just start with the simple stuff. Tell me what is the In Motion Conference and who should be attending it?
Okay, so anybody interested in filmmaking, TV, making content should attend the conference. And the conference is on November 2nd, so we're about 2 weeks away. It's going to take place here where we're doing this interview at Covo.
Yep, cool.
On the first floor and third floor. We're expecting over 200 filmmakers. We already have over 30 speakers signed up, and there's going to be a pitch competition, and there's all kinds of cool things going along with it. Yeah.
Cool. Well, we'll dig into that in just a little bit. I want to first talk to you guys a little bit about your backgrounds, right? So give me kind of the introduction from each of you.
How about you go first?
You want to go, Bobby?
I produce and direct film, TV projects, branded content. I essentially run a video company here in St. Louis, but I get hired to produce and direct content kind of around the country and around the world.
Really? Very cool.
And when I find time, I complete my own films, which I've completed 2 feature documentaries, a feature narrative. I've created a reality show, and I'm on the verge with 2 other feature projects at the moment, a couple of I'm always doing a lot.
Let's say there's always something new, yeah.
But yeah, but I mean, my background is just primarily in documentary and video and things of that nature. And
cool.
Kind of
if somebody wanted to see some of your work, where should they look you up?
You could find both of my films on Amazon Prime and VOD. My documentary, The Gray Seasons, is on Epic's cable network and Amazon Prime.
Very cool.
And my last feature film was titled Palacios, and that's available on VOD everywhere right now. And that was shot here in St. Louis several years ago.
So how did you get into filmmaking in the first place?
I got into filmmaking because I finished college and then I just made a film.
Okay.
And it's a much longer story than that, but I essentially, I came to school here. I went to WashU,
cool.
Washington University, and I got a degree in art and architecture. And instantly tried to make a film, and I ended up working on a documentary for 3 years immediately after college.
Wow.
Finished it and never got to release it. It's a long story, but it was good enough to kind of get me another documentary.
Okay.
And so then I was able to.
And the ball was rolling, and
and it was kind of going from there. But I mean, I didn't go to film school, so I had to kind of figure it all out with my first doc and kind of figure more out with my second doc. And
teach yourself a little bit.
Yeah, 15 years later, still figuring it out.
Still learning.
And then I met Dan while in the process of releasing my second doc, because he was also done and releasing his feature documentary.
Oh, really? Cool.
2010.
Yeah.
So tell me about that, yeah.
Yeah, we both had our films premiere at the Filmmaker Showcase in 2011. So my first film was a documentary about me and 2 of my friends trying to live in extreme poverty on $1 a day across 15 countries.
Wow, okay.
So I was both director and editor of that, as well as like one of the main characters in the film.
Yeah.
And one crazy thing about that film is that we actually survived a plane crash in Africa.
Holy cow.
And so that made the film and what we were doing kind of worldwide news. Not that it all like got it out there to the whole world, but we while we were making the film, and then I finished the film and edited it, premiered it, same time as Bobby's, and we connected during that. And we've continued making films kind of simultaneously, never actually making films together, but I've since made 3 other feature-length documentaries, and so I've made 4 feature-length documentaries. I've yet to make a fiction film, a feature, which is really my next goal.
Okay.
But yeah, I basically started out making videos for my church, like goofy videos for my youth group, and then I got hired on at the church, went to Merrimack to study video production, and then I went out to film school in LA at a school called Biola. And then that was when I came up with this idea for this documentary about living on $1 a day. And that film kind of led to each of my next documentaries were basically sequels until my most recent one's called Show Me Democracy. And that was really started when Von Derek Myers was killed in the Shaw neighborhood 2 months after Michael Brown was killed. And then protesters came by my front door saying, out of your home into the streets, out of your home into the streets.
Yep.
And so I just came out, started filming. And then that story really evolved into this story about how young people can get engaged in democracy through either policy or protest. And that premiered on the Fuse network nationally.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah. And so, and then I have a production company that just does nonprofit video called Speak Up Studios. That's really my day job. And amidst all of that, I, with my co-founder, helped start Continuity,
Yeah,
which
I was gonna ask about that. Sure.
is the organization that all the funds from the conference go back to.
Cool. So tell us about Continuity.
So Continuity's mission is to expand diversity in media production through skills-based training, mentorship, and opportunities. So what that really looks like is we do one main program, and that's a 36-week training program for adults who want to break into the film industry and are underrepresented, basically.
Sure.
And we usually have about 75 to 100 people apply, and we choose 10.
Wow. Okay.
And then they go through this 36-week program, meeting one night a week at the Cortex. And at the end of that, they have a premiere of all their films. And so far, 2/3 of our graduates have gotten a film in the Filmmaker Showcase, and 100% of them have gotten new opportunities, whether that's clients, jobs, film festivals, just new opportunities in the industry. So it's been really great to see the progress.
That's amazing. Yeah, and I think we talk a lot on the show about the need for more tech talent, and trying to push people in these underserved communities into those careers. But I think film production, marketing, videos, TV shows. I mean, that's obviously a growing industry as well, and that's a really great mission. So I want to ask you guys a little bit about the St. Louis aspect of this, right? Because I think a lot of people don't realize that there are people doing these things in St. Louis, right? And we were kind of joking about that before the show, right? So what kind of projects are going on? So what are the things that are happening in town that people maybe don't know about?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think people want to talk trash on St. Louis for whatever reason, and we have one of the most amazing cities in the country. Like all the free stuff you can visit,
right?
And we have an industry. The big thing is a film industry. The big thing is we don't have tax credits. And so a lot of Netflix is shooting shows about Missouri, not in Missouri, right?
Yeah.
And so that's obviously an issue. We would love our crews to be doing that here, and tax credits keep that. But it doesn't keep people from making films. Like Bobby's doing huge stuff. Maybe just talk about the impact of your show even.
Well, I mean, in terms of St. Louis production, there's always, all these kind of like small to medium markets they all kind of dealing with the same issue. They're not LA, or they're not New York, or they're not Austin or Atlanta. And so they all kind of have their own struggles with that. But I mean, you find a lot of talented people. You find a lot of accomplished production companies. I mean, there's a lot of them here. Like I think people would be surprised to know the work that are coming out of these kind of high-end production companies here in town. And there's a handful of them. And then kind of revolving around that are individual talents that are bringing and taking part in work that's that's nationwide or worldwide, that's broadcast or whatever. And then from the, I guess, indie, what you would call like the indie groundmaking circle, there's that all kind of mixes together, right? So you have a lot of people who work in commercial production houses who are really interested in making films. And so why a lot of them started doing what they do in the first place. And so it's kind of hard to align, and that's kind of why this conference is really interesting. And it seems to be working really well because I think there's that need, like to kind of mesh kind of the high-end work that's going on with people who want to just dive right into stories and films and concepts of that nature. And I mean, I've worked on big shows. I've worked on large single camera commercials. I've worked on my own independent films that, were made by like 3 or 4 people at the end of the day. So the range is pretty wide in terms of the type of production you can get involved in. And the talent is there in any market. It's just how do you kind of break out? Is the thing. And there are people breaking out here in St. Louis, and so it's kind of a cool thing to see. And with this conference, it's trying to kind of like get those that have had breakout projects or breakout moments, or the larger companies that have supported entertainment projects or anything of that nature, and put them together with people who want contact with that, who want to know how it's done. So
cool.
I think that's a great point. Yeah, there's if you look at the different speakers in our conference, most of them have St. Louis connections, and most of them have done things that have hit a national or international level, and people wouldn't realize it because we don't have this kind of gathering of all the different groups and filmmakers. Everybody's working in their own silos to a degree and doing their own thing. And I think that's what's going to be really great about the conference is everybody's going to be learning about something new. Like I learn about a new production company almost every week. Like I never heard about your company. Right. You probably never heard about mine. Like we're learning about each other now, but this is going to be a great event outside the St. Louis International Film Festival is one of the few things in St. Louis that bring all these different groups together.
Yeah. So do you see there, obviously this conference is a big step in the right direction. Is there more of a need for kind of bringing this community together? And obviously continuity is a great step in that direction too. Do you see there being, opportunity to do more to get people together in the future?
I think hopefully we'll be doing films together. I think people are.
Yeah,
I think
sure.
people are already doing stuff.
Okay.
They just don't know what other people are doing just right down the street.
Yeah.
And it's happening totally separately. And I think there could be a sense of learning from each other. Like maybe I know something that's going to make my production value higher than yours, but you know something that's about distribution and marketing that's going to get mine seen by more people.
Sure.
And so how can we help each other? Like I see films that get an amazing amount of attention because just the people hustle in marketing, but their production value is nothing like some of the content I've seen over here who nobody's knowing about because that person isn't doing the marketing or distribution. And so if we can bring those different ideas in, and that's why we have breakout sessions on distribution and film festivals, why we have breakout session on funding.
Yeah.
We're splitting up fiction and documentary. We're talking about how to make money on YouTube and how to make your production quality at a commercial level. And those are all the different kind of topics we're covering, as well as the one that Bobby's on, which is really an opening session of 4 different filmmakers from St. Louis whose work has hit a national level.
Wow, that's really cool. So, if somebody is just getting into this stuff and they're kind of curious, would that be a good fit? I mean, obviously, it sounds like multiple levels would benefit a lot from attending. But if somebody is a beginner, is this still going to be helpful for them?
Yeah, this is aimed at both beginners and very experienced filmmakers.
Awesome.
So I think all groups would have something to take from it for sure.
Very cool. So tell me more about the details of the actual event. When does it start? You mentioned it's at Covo. Is it a whole day? I mean, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So registration starts at 8:30 a.m.
Okay.
So buy your tickets before November 2nd, or you're buying the at the door price, which is higher.
Fair enough.
And then it starts at 9. So the opening session will have Bobby and 3 other filmmakers. And then we'll do 2 breakout sessions.
Okay.
And then we'll have lunch. And during lunch, we're going to have some intentional networking time where people can connect with other filmmakers. And then we'll have 2 more breakout sessions after that. Then we'll have the pitch competition where we'll have 5 filmmakers who've already submitted their pitches.
Oh, really?
That the panel will choose. And those 5 of the group that have submitted we'll put up in front of the filmmakers. We have someone from Sundance, Tribeca. We have folks who have reality shows on national television right now that are sitting on that panel. And they'll pitch before the whole audience, and then they'll choose a winner. And then we'll also announce the Kranzberg residency at that same time. And so anybody who registers for the conference can apply for the Kranzberg residency. And what that is for a year, they will have free office space. They can use any of the Kranzberg Art Center's spaces, whether it's their circus, or the rooftop gardens, or a number of their different spaces. They even have a prop room. They can use it for their films, and they can screen their films at one of their locations. They have the ZAC or even the Grandel Theater that can hold 400 people. Wow. So you can shoot your film and premiere your film and work on your film all at the Kranzberg space. And this is the first time they've ever done something like that, and it's in partnership with the In Motion Filmmaking Conference.
Wow, that's really neat. Yeah. Is that something that is still open to applications, or is that?
Yeah, so the pitch competition is closed.
Okay.
So you've already missed that boat, but you can still apply for the Kranzberg residency. Just go to inmotionconference.com and click on residency, and you can apply there.
Very cool. And I also want to ask you about sponsors. Do you already have all your sponsors lined up?
Well, we have a lot of sponsors, but we still need more sponsorship.
Okay, so
all of the funds from the conference go back to continuity and running
Sure.
our programs, which it's all going back to a good cause. Everybody is pretty much volunteers working on this. And the sponsorship, we don't have our main sponsor. So someone could still have the naming rights for this conference.
Very
so
cool.
They could be the blank In Motion Filmmaking
So whoever
Conference.
wants it.
Whoever wants that, it's
it.
still available. If you're watching the show, we want you to come in as that top sponsor.
Yeah, send us a message. We'll set you up. Very
Yeah.
cool. Well, before we move on to the next segment, I do want to ask you one more question about continuity, because I think that's an awesome mission. Primarily, are you looking for more involvement? Are you looking for support? If somebody wants to apply, where should they do that? That kind of stuff.
So applications are open every March and April.
Okay.
And our program takes place from August to May. So we're currently in a program right now. So if you want to sign up for the program, go to our website, continuitystl.com, and then just fill out the email newsletter, and we'll email you when applications are open. As far as volunteers, we're always looking for people who like to volunteer.
Cool.
One big need we have is just monthly donors. Even if it's $20 or $25 a month, having that consistent support so that we can buy new equipment, that we can pay our teachers well, that we provide a stipend to the students. So it's a completely free program.
Wow.
And when they finish, they actually get a check that they can buy a camera with.
That's awesome.
And so that's the goal, that we start them off on the right foot. So we're always looking for supporters, always looking for volunteers, always looking for students.
Very cool. All right, we'll see if we can find some more support and some more applicants. That's good stuff. We got a couple minutes left, so we have another segment we're going to switch to, and we're going to learn about the bourbon. So we're going to invite Eric onto the show. Eric is the founder of Bourbon Friday. He's going to tell us what we're drinking and why.
So we've got 2 guests, so why not 2 bourbons?
Of course.
And I thought since the conference is really about all aspects of filmmaking, I do a couple different things here. So JTS Brown, in a lot of films, whiskey, bourbon is really just used as a narrative device to show how a character is feeling, what they're going through mentally. So JTS Brown is in the classic The Hustler. And in the pivotal scene where Jackie Gleason's character, Minnesota Fats, and Paul Newman's character, Fast Eddie, are about to play, Minnesota Fats says, "Go down and get me some of that White Tavern whiskey, glass, and ice." Paul Newman's character says, "Go down and get me a bottle of JTS Brown's, no ice, no glass." So it's really like whiskey, very much part of filmmaking. We lean into that storytelling here for sure, and I'm doing it right now. And then I also brought Russell Reserve, and the reason I brought this out is because it's a different aspect of filmmaking that's really started to pop up. It's becoming more popular in whiskey and bourbon making, that they're doing a lot more documentary style promotional videos. And a few years back, Wild Turkey, who makes Russell's, they asked Matthew McConaughey to be involved and to promote their brand. And he said, "I'll only do it if I'm actually part of creating that campaign." And now because of that, we actually have 2 short documentaries, about 20, 30 minutes, one about Jimmy Russell, who this is named for, and one about Wild Turkey and the creation of that brand. So without sort of creatives and people getting involved in that filmmaking, these things might not exist. And certainly, I know Stumpy's across the river, they have a documentary style video, and it's just becoming a more and more popular thing, where talented creatives who are doing documentaries can use their skills into commercial products.
There you go. Sounds like a new
cool.
project for you guys. I got to hook you up with one of these bourbon.
I mean, there was a lot of, it wasn't bourbon, but there was a lot of whiskey in my last film. It was Irish whiskey. And I didn't, a nameless Irish whiskey. But yeah, and there was actually a lot of whiskey drank while shooting scenes.
Of course. Well, that always helps, right?
Yes.
Keep
It helped with this. But no, that was interesting about we're not drinking that. We're drinking Russell's right now.
You are
drinking Russell's now. We'll try the other one after the show. Right?
Drink
We're gonna graduate to that.
Movie bourbon.
Well, we got a minute or 2 left, Eric. Do we have any events coming up this week?
You bet. But first, before I start, I want to say, we mentioned it a couple weeks ago, all of the episodes of the Bourbon Friday Show are now available as audio only on Apple and Google Podcasts and Spotify. If you happen to prefer a different platform, just let us know in the comments and we'll get it there as well.
Well, I want to say thank you for doing that. That was a ton of work to rip all the audio out and put those up.
Yeah, it was
yes,
83 episodes plus 3 specials or extra content bonus episodes. So,
yes.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
It was a lot. So then next week, much lighter week. I mean, last couple weeks have actually had quite a lot of events. And I think this is sort of the lull before we start event season starting in November. So on Tuesday, we have Impact Investing at Rise Collaborative. And this is just going to be a panel discussion about leveraging capital to create social change. On Wednesday, we have Exploring Entrepreneurship at the Schlafly branch of the St. Louis Public Library. And that's going to be put on by Grind Plus Growth. And they're just a nonprofit that is sort of using entrepreneurship to elevate people in underserved communities. And then on Thursday, we of course have Venture Cafe. This is that Next at 4240 event, which is that big event. They have food vendors, a bunch of different people. And the theme of that is building a cyber-ready community. So most of the programming is sort of based around that idea. That's going to be put on by Maryville University. One of the highlights of that is there's going to be a program called Rapidly Maturing Information Security Program. Rapidly maturing your information security program. And that's put on by Capacity. And if you don't know what Capacity is, that's Jane AI, or that's what Jane AI is now named. And then Friday, we're back here for another great Bourbon Friday. We have Mark Bernstein from Balto, the CEO of Balto, here at Covo. And he's going to be talking about their platform, which is an AI-based platform which helps you close sales deals. So it's a real-time response and coaching you through your sales calls, so you know if somebody's like giving you buying signals, and then it prompts you to the next thing, which is a really great idea. And they're growing really fast.
Yeah, they're doing well.
Yeah, and then also we mentioned it last week, but don't forget, if you have events, send them to us at events@Bourbon Friday Show, bourbonfriday.show. And maybe we'll talk about them on the show, like I just was doing, or maybe, like in Motion, you might get on the show.
Oh yeah, true. Good point. All right. Well, good stuff. Thank you so much for the events and the bourbon, as always. Bobby and Dan, thanks so much for joining us today. Really appreciate it. Looking forward to the conference. So
It's gonna be great.
I got to get my ticket before they sell out. 'Cause you said there's just a few left.
Yeah,
right?
there's just a few left. They're selling like crazy now. It's great.
All right, well, go get yours before they run out. For those of you tuning in, I want to thank you so much for watching us here on the Bourbon Friday Show. Do a few organizations to thank. So first of all, thank you to Covo for hosting us every single week. Thank you to EQ for partnering with us and helping us distribute the show. And of course, thank you to Ian Brown for producing things behind the scenes and always making us look good in front of the camera. Thanks for tuning in, and please join us again next Friday at 4:30 for the Bourbon Friday Show. We'll see you then.
Hey, thanks for watching. We truly hope you enjoyed it. Please like and share this episode, and if you haven't yet, hit that subscribe button. It really helps us out. To stay up to date, follow us on social. We are at Bourbon Fridays on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, and TikTok. See you next time.